Well, hello, class. Welcome you back to our media and ministry. And we've been looking at video. And today I want to go into a little bit of video shooting basics. And there's different types and styles. When you look at video, you're going to get really some of the personality of the videographer and his style. And so there's a lot that goes into video shooting and things to consider. You don't have to be a professional in doing your shooting, but you want to really develop your shots so that the viewer, it's pleasant for them to watch. So um, there's some technique to that, and you can learn that just by practice. But there's different aspects of shooting. Now there are the types of shooting. There's what they call the floating head. So that's a shot where I'm looking right into the camera, and so that is the floating head. Then there is the interview style of shooting, where is the subject is looking off to the side. In other words, we're having a conversation, not necessarily with you, but we're having a conversation with somebody else. And so they're looking off to the camera, and you're almost like a third party just watching this scenario take place. And that's the interview look. Then you have the dialogue shoot, where there's more than just me talking. It's not just the floating head, it's not the interview, but it's actually several people in dialogue, in conversation. So that takes a lot of, for the videographer, it takes a lot of thinking and getting the right shot developed. You'll probably never go that far in your ministry technically, but maybe you will. But that's all something we can look at down the road. But these are just types of shooting that you'll see on a regular basis. So when it comes to doing and developing your shooting, you want to really think through the process. So you want to have when you come to it, you want to have, if it's just you want to think through your story. What am I trying to convey? And think about your message. If you're trying to convey the gospel, the idea is you don't want to just sit here and read something. You're trying to think that process through, and like I am talking to you one-on-one, I'm presenting to you the gospel. Hey, I want you to look at this and what God has done for you. In Romans 3:23, it says, for all have sinned. Do you understand that I'm a sinner and you're a sinner? So you're trying to not just read through something, you're trying to convey to them a story. Hey, this is my story. This is what God did in my life, and God wants to work in your life. So think about your message and how to effectively convey that message to the audience. So if you're shooting somebody and you want to do a sit down and get his or her thoughts and work through that process. So have a sit down and talk through it. I do a lot of shooting, and so my pet peeve with that is I don't ever bring someone in to a studio or do a shoot out there outside and have a teleprompter. Now some do, but I just I, to me, it's very impersonal, and they come across as very robotic. Video is all about, again, the personality of the person and trying to get their heart, and especially in ministry, you're conveying your heart. And the more real you are and personable, the more that's going to come across as, wow, okay, that's good. So you have to think through that process and make sure your story is nailed down, and you're able to think through that without reading it. The best way to do that is outline form. So you make outline just like you would if you're teaching, or if you're preaching. You make an outline, and you're not necessarily going to stand in front of people and read as you teach. You want to get your heart out to them and convey these thoughts that this is where we're at, and this is what we need to do, and this is how you do it. And you're conveying those thoughts from your heart and your mind. So those are the aspects of shooting. So you have the sit down, and then you develop your outline. You develop questions. So as a videographer, if I'm shooting a particular person, I can develop questions. So, hey, tell us about your trip in Africa. What particular event really inspired you? And once asking questions like that really draws out the heart of that person, and they can just lay it out there. And that's what you want in your shoot. So develop questions, and then you begin to shoot that interview. And after that interview, that's where you develop a shot list. So you go through that interview, and if I'm doing a missions presentation, I'm gonna sit down with that missionary. I'm gonna talk him through it. I'm gonna say, hey, develop an outline of what you would like to say. If you want me to ask questions, what particular thing do you want me to address and ask you? And then we'll do the interview, we'll do the shoot. And if I have to ask him questions, then we do that. And then when all that is over, I'll go through the interview, I'll listen to it, and from that I'll develop what we call B-roll. I'll develop a shot list. Hey, he's talking about this event. Oh man, he's going through the jungles of Africa and getting caught in a storm, so I have to develop those shots and see if I'm on location. Then I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot those shots to help with that video and emphasize what he's talking about. That's what we call B-roll. It emphasizes the dialogue or the interview. And so those are the shoots, different types of aspects of shooting, and really you could develop so many things and do so many things. The shooting aspect really comes down to your personality and your as much as you put into it, and you can, and that's why it's important to sit down or to think through the process, and you can really develop it. Man, when you think about this shot, man, I could do this and really emphasize this, and it really begins to develop and become a great shoot and a great video. And so in the interview process, what I like to personally do is not just take the interview and shoot it and be done. So if I'm gonna develop a video in that interview, I want to take that particular subject, that interviewee, and I'm going to shoot him in several locations. What that does is it excites the viewer. Man, oh wow! And I'm bringing him in and out of in different locations, and it keeps the attention of the viewer. And so that's something to consider. Um, I've been wearing the same kind of the same shirt during this shoot. Just trying to get some shooting done. But and I did that on purpose to show you, take advantage. I probably should change my shirt. You could change your shirt in different, have them change. And so what that looks like is that they're coming in different days, or they're doing a different shoot. He did it this time. And so it changes things up. And in the viewer's mind, it really helps them to grab a hold of some of them details. And so those are things to consider in your shooting. And then you have to determine your shoot type. Hey, am I going to shoot him as he's looking directly in, or is he going to look interview style? Or so consider those aspects. And also, it is your job as the videographer, as the shooter, to keep that interview going and to keep him focused, and not too wordy, but to keep him focused. And that's really where questions are pretty powerful in video. I'm going to ask a specific question, and they're going to answer that. And then one of the biggest issues you have to consider with video is not just the look, but the sound. And so your audio is crucial. So make sure your sound is good, and they not only are seeing, but they're hearing, because if you don't have audio, it's a useless video. So those are some real basics of video shooting, some types of shooting, and I hope that was a help to you.